Anas is from that constituency.
But you're not so far from that constituency.
Geographically, I am far.
How many hours?
So it would be some 15 minutes drive from Nadowli to Jirapa, for instance, my capital.
15 minutes, and you say it's far.
We share
this boy.
So we share boundaries with the Nadowli Kaleo constituency.
Okay, so you're neighbors.
We are neighbors.
Oh, great.
And we are friends.
Okay, so today we are focusing on your neighbor, which is the Nadowli Kaleo. Another day we'll look at the Jirapa place as well. But tell us a bit about this constituency, its location, its interesting things about the constituency to start with.
Well, as you mentioned, politically this is a very exciting constituency to watch. Exciting primarily because of the personality who has been at the helm of the political leadership of the area. Also exciting because of the nature of the people, the interaction of the people with national politics, with local politics, and with regional politics. The people are predominantly farmers. And so if you seek to lead them, you must be seen to be supporting that particular enterprise, whether in terms of promoting agric or in terms of helping farmers with what we now have come to know as the warehousing project, or in terms of the if it's plowing, they would need tractors, all of those things that you need. What
kind of produce do they usually come up with?
So typically you would have corn from the area, you would have maize from the area. In some parts of the constituencies they produce yam. So it's one of the areas that I mean, if like many other farming areas in this country could be self-sufficient in terms of food if we focused on really investing in the farming activities in the area. So, and also in terms of ethnicity, you would have there are Dagabes, or Dagaba. It's wrong to say Dagabes. So they are Dagaba. Dialectically, you may have differences. So you would have somebody speaking Dagari from Nadowli sounds different from somebody speaking Dagari from Jirapa. So usually you would see Anas and I can communicate very well. We understand each other, but our dialects are different.
So if Anas speaks, you understand, but when you speak, you won't speak the dialect he's speaking.
The dialects will be different. The dialects will be different.
So kind of like the Ga and Dagbe thing.
Exactly.
Sort of.
Exactly, that kind of a thing. And so the differences really, because of the nature of the language of the area, you don't find the constituency standing alone. It's able to identify with other constituencies. So in terms of the language, it identifies. In terms of religion, it identifies. In terms of the predominant occupations, it identifies. And it's one of the areas you could say is also a very youthful constituency. So you don't have so many of the old folks actively involved in partisan politics, for instance. You would have the young people who are driving this, you would have the young people who are pushing. The challenge is where you are not likely to see the young people will be the leadership of these parties for so long a time, also because of traditional or cultural beliefs that you would always need an elderly person, elderly in terms of age, to lead you. And so you can have the place being that youthful, but when you look at the political leadership across board, you see the old faces. That is why for so long you were seeing faces like Alban Bagbin, you were seeing faces like Matthias Poza, you were seeing faces like Rashid Pilpo. I don't know whether Rashid Pilpo is an old folk, or we can put
we can put it in the young. I mean, Rashid is a very good friend. You understand what we are saying?
Yes, but it speaks to, so we can add Yelechre to that category. So this speaks to the type of culture that says that the elderly are the ones who would form the council, and the elderly are the ones who would direct. So you would have the younger ones predominantly pushing the issues, but when it gets to the leadership, the dual leadership, you see the older folks.
And it's the same, or it's changed this time?
It's changing. We can say if we look at the NDC, for instance, well, both NDC and NPP, if you look at the leadership at the constituency level, these are very young people. If you look at the candidates that have been put up also across the board, PNC, NDC, NPP, these are very young people, even including the independent candidate who eventually withdrew. These are all very young people. So you notice that there's a conscious effort to drift away from the
older ones. And what's changed that narrative? Is it the youth now pushing their way through, or the old folks now trying to take a back seat?
I think it is predominantly a question of the young people pushing to take a place in the leadership space. Back then, like I said, the young people would do all the work, the groundwork, but when it came to the real representation, you would find the older ones. But now you would see that, for instance, you would have a lot more young people contesting the party executive positions, for instance. You would have a lot more young people putting themselves up for the primaries at the party levels. So you see that the young people are now putting themselves out there more forcefully than we had previously. For so long a time, right from 96 through to 2012, for instance, you had the young people, the old people being the ones contesting. So you would have Alban Bagbin, you would have somebody like Boy Bandi from the same constituency who are like age mates. If you go to the other side, my constituency, for instance, Drapa, you would have somebody like Edward Salia, who eventually handed over to Dakra, contesting somebody like the former MP who is now leading the NPP's chart. And these are all in the same age brackets. But now we see that it is changing with more and more young people putting themselves out.
Okay. Politically, what kind of constituency is it? Is it a stronger NDC, MPP? Well, of course, we've seen the NDC candidate, the Honorable SK Bagbin, leading that front for a while. But why do they told thoughts? And Kojo, I'll come to you with the figures from there over the period in terms of elections.
It is politically an NDC zone. We can safely say from the figures that we have seen since 1996. We tend not to add 92 because of the general boycott the NPP initiated.
For parliamentary.
Yes, but from 96, where there was competitive political campaigning and elections, you realize that the NDC has consistently led in the figures. For instance, if you compare ASK Bagbin, if you compare his figures from 96 through to 2016, you would realize that the only time he actually went below was in 2016, where largely it was attributed to the entrance of Bernard Mornah onto the scene. But you realize that from 96, he's been in the 50s. So 96 he had 56% of the vote, 2000 he had 58% of the vote, 2004 he had 50% of the vote, 2008 he had 61% of the vote, which was his best performance. This was 2008. 2012 he had 56% of the vote, and then 2016 it went down to 48% of the vote. So you would notice that there's been that consistency in the way the people vote. No matter the caliber of the candidate the NPP, for instance, put forth, the people always went with the NDC presidential and the NDC parliamentary. So the NPP has consistently changed its candidates, and none of them had been able to unseat the Honorable Bagbin. And if you look at the caliber of people the NPP had consistently put forth to, you notice that it really wasn't about the strength of the candidates.
Okay.
Not really. That the people believed in a certain ideology, they believed in a certain leaning, and they believed that that particular ideology was what was going to give them the development that they sought. So if you look at a name like Boateng, 2012, he went up against Bagbin and other people, and even with that, Boateng was able to get 42% of the vote, and Bagbin still was in the 50s. He had 56% of the vote, and this was a very strong man in the area. Boateng had a lot of influence. He was respected. So as to whether it was the fact that the people just liked the NDC or they didn't like the other people, I think the suspicion has always been that this is a constituency that believed so much in the NDC. Okay,
we'll come and look at the candidates that all the parties have put forward, because now the likes of Mornah, people think they will change the narrative in that constituency. Also, we'll look at SK Bagbin, his time on that seat, and then, but let me bring in Kojo to give us some statistics over the period in terms of the performance of the NDC and the MPP.
Okay, so I think Sixtus started us off nicely. And from 96.
No, he's the king of the Jirapa, never to Kaleo. So.
In fact, he shared the numbers for us. So let me just highlight a few things.
Okay.
For the Nadowli Kaleo constituency, for the presidential, in 2008, the NDC got their highest ever votes for presidential. That's 62%, right?
Okay.
In the parliamentary, we saw a similar trend, the 61-62% that Sixtus mentioned earlier. Now, if you check, sorry, forgive me. Now, no, 2008 presidential, NDC got 69%.
69 rather, okay.
Yeah, 69%, and then 2012 they got the highest, which is 70%.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the parliamentary, which is the key thing we are looking at, because there seems to be a trend for the presidential where the NDC would usually get 64 and above, right? But if you look at the parliamentary, it looks as though there's always a figure in there who takes a bit away from the NDC and MPP. For example, in 2004, NPP got 23.7%, NDC got 50.5%. The remaining 25% and above was shared by the PNC and other parties. So they take a lot from these parties. In 2008, NPP got 17.5%, NDC got 62.0%, right? Now, 62 plus 70, we are looking at 79%. So there's a 21%, which was also taken by the other parties. 2012 was when it was almost a head-to-head with NDC and MPP, because NPP got 42, NDC got 56, which is 98% of the vote. So for the parliamentary, the smaller parties didn't really show up. But 2016, NPP 31.9%, NDC 48.9%. Now, if you look at the 2016 breakdown, Alban Bagbin got 14,000 of the votes, which represented 48%, almost 49%. Elvis Bota got, of the NPP, got 9,100 of the votes, which represents about 31%. Then comes Mornah, who got 5,300 of the CPP, who got 120, almost negligible. Now, if you look at Bagbin's 48%, and you look at the NPP's 31%, you see that if you compare to the previous year, 2012, NPP got 42, NDC got 56. Mornah came to take a slice of the MPP's vote. He took a slice of the NDC's vote. And yesterday I was listening to him. He says he knows he didn't win then because that was his first time. And there was the venerable Alban Bagbin. That's how he put it. But now he's going in for the second time. The venerable Alban Bagbin is not there. So he knows that based on his first performance, he can win a lot more votes and even be the candidate. So 2016 will give us a very, because there is history that's in the constituency when it comes to the parliamentary. If you're a homeboy, irrespective of your party, you will get some good votes. It's not like certain places where we go and put NDC MPP there, the focus is on NDC MPP and the others don't get.
Yeah.
But here, if
so the
you come
personalities
strong,
really
yes,
drive, not the party
yes,
necessarily.
and Bernard Mornah is not a personality that is unknown. Nationally, he's known for the work he's done with the PNC, and he's been at the forefront of the PNC. So nationally, Bernard Mornah is a name recognized in our everyday politics.
Okay.
And it's also recognized in his area. At least the 2016 votes show us something that he could do something. Now, 2016, Alban is not there.
2020.
Sorry. Alban is not there. Bernard Mornah is in there with the other candidates. How will things be? That's something to watch out for.
Sixtus, okay.
If you even look at the constituency numbers, number of voters, right?
Yeah.
Now, we are looking at Nadowli Kaleo. 2016, the number of voters was 41,000.
Okay.
2020, we are looking at 43,000, right?
Okay.
Almost 2,000 added to the numbers. And if you look at the differences, Alban got 14,000, NDC got 9,000, PNC got 5,000. 2,000 is a big number to fight for. 2,000 is a big number. So it's going to be very interesting in the constituency based on the trends and what we are seeing now.
Okay. Will Bernard Mornah be able to change the NDC's grip of that constituency? Would he make any inroads at all or win that seat?
I think that's a question everybody is trying to answer now. Because part of the reason the NDC was able to hold that constituency was Alban Bagbin. Now, Alban Bagbin is off the scene and somebody else is replacing him. Now, the events leading to his replacement on the ticket of the party are not events that the inside watchers believe are pleasant for the party and for Anthony Suma's chances.
Okay, why? Or what are the unpleasant issues?
On this very platform, we received press releases and had press conferences of people who were calling on the second deputy speaker to not to contest again. Because for some time people simply wanted a change. Now, it moved away from the usual, he's not performing, he's been there for, we are not seeing anything, to let somebody else take over.
Okay.
So, for a feeling, a majority of the people, the young ones, for instance, the discussion I had earlier, the feeling was that, look, we need someone else to take over. And it did not appear as though there was a succession plan for for a replacement.
Well, that's for the NDC.
For the NDC. And so a lot of the young people thought that we needed to do something forceful to be recognized in this space. And that's why we had the initial skirmishes that we saw within the
were
party.
You part of it? You keep saying we.
I said we saw. I am part of those who saw.
Okay, so,
yes,
but not to cut you, is it to say that the Honourable S.K. Bagbin, if he hadn't received that amount of agitations, would have, continued with that?
That was a suspicion. That was a suspicion. But again, remember that he contested the flag bearership of the NDC. So that also gave a lot of watchers the impression that he was ready to move on from this other side. And so when he lost, actually a lot of these agitations started when he lost the flag bearership race. And people felt that he could change his mind and decide to come back. But from the very onset, the suspicion was that he was more interested in higher positions within the party, and so he didn't want to go back to the constituency. And so when he got off the scene, again, looking at the caliber of person he is, his standing in the constituency alone, I mean, this is a traditional constituency, a constituency that respects age, it respects status, it respects everything.
Okay.
And so imagine that Anthony Suma is going to campaign, meet with the chiefs, and he doesn't go with Alban Bagbin. Now, it may not so much as immediately hurt his his standing with the community. But it won't also give him a good footing, because you would need an elderly person to lead you through. Again, you would need to demonstrate, or for the people to clearly and openly see that you have the support of this icon. You can't do this without this icon. So initially it was a problem when it appeared as though the venerable member of parliament, as we call him now, wasn't campaigning with Anthony. Yes, but my understanding is that now that has changed. He's in the constituency, he's on the ground, he's moving with the candidate, and it has brought some encouragement, some hope within the party, and people are beginning to flow with the campaign. Now, that might be a game changer for Anthony, because if he didn't have the support of the Honorable Bagbin, now he has it, and it is demonstrated that Bagbin has given his blessing. If for nothing at all, for him appearing on the campaign with this particular candidate. But we cannot take Mornah for granted. The reason Mornah didn't even make a better impression than the 18% he got in the 2016 election was pure and simple. The campaign on the ground against him was that you have taken us to be second-grade citizens. Remember, he first contested in Wa Central, and when he lost, he decided to go back home. And the
so
question
is this where his dad or mom is from? Nadowli?
Sankana, actually. The dad is from Sankana. So the feeling was, if you are our own, why did you not come to us in the first place? And family is something all the regions of the north, actually, we cherish so much. We appreciate that.
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
From all my guys from the north.
Family is a big thing. So the people suspected him. There were those who did not trust him. Bernard Mornah, they didn't trust him and his intentions for the constituency. There were those who openly said, I mean, he wants post at all costs. Otherwise, why would you sidestep your own people, go and contest elsewhere, merely on the grounds that, oh, you have lived in that constituency for so many years and so you qualify. And now you have lost that and you are coming back. But you see, between 2016 and 2020, a lot has changed. He's consistently been in the community with the people. He's consistently taught the area. So if he had 18% in 2016, and like Kojo said, the difference now is some 2,000 votes that they are fighting for. Imagine the impact he can make. And so it's going to be tough. It is really, really going to be, and he's going to make a good impression. Let me leave it at that. Again, another thing that could hurt the NDC's chances going in favor of Bernard Mornah. This controversial former regional secretary of the party, Eric Dakra, I understand he's now campaign manager for Bernard Mornah. So imagine that Bernard Mornah, who is suspected to have some backing from within the NDC, even in 2016, that was a suspicion. And now he has a former regional secretary of the party backing him or leading his campaign against the NDC's own Anthony. Then it means that there's some friction somewhere within the NDC. And with just 19 days to the election, will the NDC be able to, iron out those issues? My understanding is that the gentleman has been barred from communicating on the behalf of the NDC in the region. So it means the NDC doesn't even recognize him anymore. That is one more vote lost to the NDC.
And then of course he had people who
would be following him and who might be sympathetic. So that's the other dynamic that could go against the NDC and Mr. Suma's campaign.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take a quick break. What I've noticed is that you didn't really talk about the NPP candidate.
Well,
it looks like the NPP guys. They are not really
there's actually a lot on him.
Okay.
There's actually a lot on him. So when we come back.
Okay. So I'm going to take a quick break, but I want you to be part of the conversation. Are you from the Nadowli Kaleo constituency? What do you think? Are you going to vote for the PNC's Bernard Mornah, or you're going to keep it green like we've seen over the years and vote for the NDC for presidential and parliamentary? Send us a message via Facebook or Twitter. Remember to add the hashtag Voters Diary, or you can send us a message via WhatsApp. The numbers are currently on your screens of your TV. We'll be right back.
It is Christmas.
What do you want for Christmas? A new car, a vacation, or expand your business? Make your wish and have it come true in the 100 days of Christmas with a Republic Bank Christmas loan. The Republic Christmas loan is quick, easy, and so affordable with super fast turnaround time. Come into any of our branches nationwide. Call or WhatsApp 055-654-3212 or apply online via republicghana.com. Remember, wear your nose mask, stay safe. Republic Bank, we are the one for you.
So welcome back to the Voters Diary. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. I'm here with Kojo, Akoto, Boateng, as well as Sixtus, Ullo. We're looking at the Nadowli Kaleo constituency. And guys, so you guys are not really talking about the MPP's candidate, and for that matter, the MPP in that constituency. Is that to mean that the fight really is between the NDC and the PNC, from what we are saying, in terms of parliamentary?
No, not really.
Okay.
And so if you remember the figures we gave, 2016, Alban Bagbin got 14,000 votes. Elvis Bota got 9,100 votes. So that was quite close, right? And Bernard Mornah took 5,393 votes from the two of them. And so Bagbin had 48%, Elvis had 31%, Mornah had 18%. So that's number one. Now number two, Elvis ran in 2016. He's going again in 2020, so he'll be a familiar face, right? So Mornah and Elvis are two repeat candidates who the people already may know. The NDC candidate is rather new. If you look at it, he is rather taking over from what do you call it? Alban Bagbin. His name is Anthony Suma, right? Now the thing also with Elvis is that he got some very good votes. If you look at the 2016 votes, 18% when you are running with people like 31% when you are running with people like Alban Bagbin and Bernard Mornah is a good vote, because in 2004 NPP got 23%, 2008 NPP got 17%, 2012 42%, and then 2016 31%. So it's the second highest when you look at NPP's gains in the constituency. He's being repeated. That's number two. Now, number three, when he went into the primaries again, remember he was contested, right? The MC of the area ran against him. But he still won very well.
So he's still popular.
Meaning, within the party, they still endorsed him. If the win had been some way, then you would say that the party really didn't want to put him forward, but he went through. Number four, in 2018, there was this incident that happened. He was, what do you call it? He was suspended by the Nadowli chairman, right? The chairman of the party in Nadowli over insubordination, breaches of the party's constitution, disrespect to the party's elders, and blah, blah, blah. And then the regional executives suspended the constituency chairman for suspending Elvis Butta and reinstated Elvis Butta in the party.
Oh my God.
You understand?
Yeah.
Meaning appreciably, what some of these things also mean is that the person gets to be in the news in the area, so his name gets a high recall value. And in politics, when your name is remembered easily, when your face is remembered easily, when your message, that's why these parties always try to use 2 sure, 4 touch, 4 more for now, 1 touch. And these are things that sometimes when the person gets to the ballot booth and they're undecided, the first thing that may come to mind, or the first face that the brain will recognize, will end up getting the vote. So Elvis really is not an entity you can put aside in this particular race. I actually think that since Anthony is quite new, and Elvis, and he had some issues, right? And Elvis has been there in 2016. He's going 2020. During the COVID era, he went to make presentations to support the fight against COVID-19, and he made his impact felt, right? And he was visible. He's going against Bernard Mornah, who is also a repeat candidate in the constituency. And from Sixtus's account, Bernard went somewhere before coming to try his luck at home, right? If the people think the same way, right, he may get his votes all right, but he may not be the overwhelming choice of the majority. And it will still be between NDC and MPP. Fresh candidates against a repeat candidate who seems to be pushing to get the top of mind awareness, who also got some appreciably good results back in 2016, right? So he's also a very, very interesting
and there's something else that can even still work to his favor. Recall there were initially 4 candidates, NDC, NPP, CPP, and an independent candidate. So very recently, in fact, on the 9th of November, the independent candidate wrote notifying the Electoral Commission that he was withdrawing his candidacy. And a copy of the letter I have, his name is Sandong Wenbai Fatao, and he said that, let me read exactly what he wrote. I humbly write to your reputable office to inform you of my decision to withdraw my candidature as an independent parliamentary candidate in the Nadowli Kaleo constituency. I duly filed my nomination forms and I successfully went through the process, but it has become necessary to pull out of the race at this time. It is my humble plea to the Commission to take me out of the polls. And this is all he told the Electoral Commission. There was really no reason given for the withdrawal. Now, but this independent man was an NDC person, a known NDC person. He was always in the company of a former regional minister, Kaleo, and everybody knew him, constituency level, regional level, to be NDC. But the usual fallouts people have with various political parties, he decided to go independent. Now, what would have happened, and still may happen, that's why I'm saying that Elvis may just benefit from something here, is that the fact that he's withdrawn his candidature does not mean that he's going to endorse the NDC person. It's not clear-cut. What is even being suspected now is that he's likely going to go with Bernard Mornah. So if the NDC is not careful, Bernard Mornah will take his 18%, fight with Suma over the traditional NDC percentage to the advantage of Elvis, because Elvis would end up having his own votes, and like Kojo said, he made a really good impression in 2016. And one of the things that went against him also in 2006 was he's not really our own. Now they are saying he's being forced on the party against the wishes of the party. The incident Kojo narrated. So if there's going to be any friction between Bernard Mornah and Anthony Suma, then you expect that the spillover or the benefits of that should go to Elvis. And so by the time we realize he's benefiting from a fight between PNC and NDC. And if this gentleman, who is a former NDC person, decided to go independent and now decided to withdraw, if he decides to back Mornah, so it means Mornah has some really good NDC people in his corner. Suma has nowhere to take from except maybe the new voters, the 2,000 that we are talking about. Then Elvis will also take his share and still struggle with Suma for some of the NDCs votes.
Okay.
Yes, I also wanted to add that I get a feeling that Elvis also is getting support from the top, right? Because he's not just an Nadowli Kaleo boy. He's worked his way into the party,
national executive,
national deputy organizer. Being Samuel Oku's deputy means a lot.
Yeah.
If the relationship is right,
good,
you get a lot of funding, you get a lot of support.
Yeah.
So if you are analyzing the race as with all the key functions within the race, appeal at the party side, he won the candidature against a certain MC who
ordinarily should have been a grassroots person.
Yes.
And shouldn't have lost.
Who has the power,
actually.
Yes.
the administrative power in the constituency to do things. He's a deputy national organizer, so on the national front. Financially, he comes across as somebody who is financially sound. Because
in fact, I understand he's brought some solar projects to the constituency. Something the sitting MP hasn't done.
if you look at the donations he's made so far in the news reports, he comes across as somebody who has the financial wherewithal to go through a political campaign, right? And then he's running for a seat that the incumbent government wants, that they will do anything to win. So all the chips seem to be in place for him, Elvis Bota, to, if he doesn't even win, do very well in the particular constituency. We cannot say same for someone like Bernard Mornah, whether he has the financial clout to push through.
Okay.
And in the case of the NDC, I've not heard, I may be wrong, but I've not seen Alban Bagbin going all out there, and Sixtus, if I'm wrong, and viewers should correct me, pushing that I'm not running any longer. This is the young man taking over from me. Make sure you give him the support you gave me, and make Nadowli Kaleo ours again. I've not seen that. If he's done that, people could correct me.
But recently he's doing that.
Recently he's doing that.
He started going on the campaign tour with Anthony, and I understand just last week they were on some rounds together, and they met with some of the opinion leaders. As to whether it is rather too late in the day, we can't tell, because a day in politics is a lifetime.
But you see, I'm saying this because for someone like Bagbin, usually when he speaks, it gets the national attention. He was one of the MPs that we said, oh, there are some older, mature, experienced MPs. Let's always try to keep these people to help the work of the legislature. Now, if he's moving out, as a media person, I expect that he would have even made a lot of statements that he moving out doesn't mean there's a competent person going to replace him. He will mentor this person, he will mentor that. To make us have the national picture. He could do that at the constituency level, but I'm just saying, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
I get your point. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you to the constituency proper and see what's like in terms of campaign and how the constituents are receiving all the key personalities in this race.
The Nadowli Kaleo constituency has since 1992 been dominated by the main opposition National Democratic Congress. The constituency was known as Nadowli West until 2012, when it was renamed as Nadowli Kaleo. Ghana's second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Alban Kingsford Bagbin, has represented the constituency since its birth. In the 2016 parliamentary elections, Honorable Bagbin defied his critics to win the seat with 14,044 votes, while his closest contender, Elvis Banoemulebota of the NPP, obtained 19,154 votes. The PNC's chairman, Bernard Ambata Yelamona, also had 5,393 votes, while Emmanuel Kwesi Nassau could only manage with 120 votes. Mr. Bagbin, however, decided to retire from Parliament at the end of his current tenure. A hospital administrator, Anthony Munkarasuma, will represent the NDC.
I think that having worked in the public service, having developed the connections, I stand in a good place to step into his shoes so that I will continue and sustain the works that he has done and also bring on board what I can do to further improve the livelihoods of the people.
Mr. Suma says the Nadowli Kaleo constituency witnessed tremendous development under his predecessor, hence the need to elect him to consolidate the gains.
Notwithstanding all the developments he has brought in the constituency, as the member of parliament for the constituency, we still have challenges. And it is not peculiar to Nadowli Kaleo constituency or district. We still have high levels of poverty. And that is as a result of people not having jobs, not having activities that they can engage in that will give them income. And that's one of my greatest concerns. I want to work, particularly through the national apprenticeship program that we are proposing, so that people can acquire skills and acquire jobs.
However, the MPP's Elvis Botta says the time has come for the electorate in the Nadowli Kaleo constituency to break the NDC's dominance in the area.
I don't want to trickle this down to personalities, but I want to make this analysis in three strands. One, the partisanship. So the Nadowli Kaleo constituency have clearly been in great solidarity with the NDC. What they have seen in most of these instances is deception. What the communities have seen in most of the instances is, don't worry, hold on, this next 4 years will be the time for me to help you. That has been the rhetorics of the NDC towards the communities. Now they have become extremely more discerning. That patience, is lost. And most importantly, the customary and traditional ties Honorable Alban Bagbin had with these various communities and their key opinion leaders, their chiefs, their tendambers, it's not one the current NDC's candidate can inherit.
Elvis Botta says the constituency is still engulfed by extreme poverty, a reason why constituents must elect someone who has the requisite lobbying skills to bring the needed development to the area.
Majority of the communities believe that the avalanche of problems they are confronted with are those we have either taken the step towards solving, have either completely solved, or is one we will be able to show commitment to. So if you look at it from these strands and from the kind of culture, from the kind of tradition we practice, both in our parties by convention and to society, it is clear that we have been long-standing. But where you have an opponent who clearly is quite a stranger in his own party, so to say, the extent that that network and connection is missing right from the constituency to the region, probably completely bleak at the national front, it tells you and convinces the people that this is certainly not the option. If it needs to be, it has to be in some decades from today, not now. And I can assure you that these will become the parameters, within which the people of the Nadowli Kaleo constituency will make a selection of who represents them in parliament and who can articulate clear understanding of their peculiarities, and to be able to lobby and to be able to, as it were, pull down development to the Nadowli Kaleo constituency.
According to the 2010 population and housing census, the Nadowli Kaleo constituency has a population of 63,141 with a growth rate of 1.9%. It is estimated that the area has a current population of over 75,000, with majority of the residents engaged in the agri sector. As the 2020 general election draws nearer, it appears the deplorable nature of roads in the constituency, coupled with inadequate health infrastructure, are the key issues affecting constituents in the Nadowli Kaleo constituency.
On the part of quality, education is very far lacking because we don't even have a district library. And if we don't have a district library, it tells you that the schools probably will lack library books. And that has been my concern. Now, with social infrastructure, potable water has been a challenge in most of our communities. Road network has been a challenge in most of our communities.
For me, I think bad roads are one. We have unemployment. There are a lot of youth in Nadowli district. They are unemployed and it's really, really affecting the Nadowli district. And okay, women empowerment is also part because most of our women here, they don't have like shares. Most of them have to do a lot of hard work in the farm before they can. Meanwhile, when it gets to voting time, they all have to vote.
The whole of Nadowli, see, it's a very big town, and we need some of these things to help us. See our hospital, we don't have mortuary. We have to carry our corpse to Jirapa and Wa, and this is no good. We need a mortuary here.
The constituency is a big constituency. We should be having polyclinics in areas like the Charkon, in areas like Zang, in areas like Kaleo, but in all these situations, we have had to do with only the Nadowli District Hospital, which I think is something that we are lacking.
So who will the electorate vote to address these challenges?
Obviously, that would be Honorable Elvis Banemule Bota. The reason is simple. He has shown leadership. He has exhibited high sense of humility, trust, that he is the candidate that can lead the constituency in the absence of Honorable S.K. Bagbin.
I personally, if you ask of my view, which of the candidates, because so far I know of 3 candidates, which is the MPP candidate, was it Mornah, Elvis Bota, and then we have Mornah going for the PNC, and then we have the Anthony Somamin Karaf going for the NDC. Personally, on my assessing the 3 of them, I would choose to vote for Tony.
Okay, when it comes to parliamentary, I think I'll vote for Anthony Soma. It's not that he's wise and the others are not, but I think he's the best person that can do it.
The PNC's Mornah says he is the Messiah who can turn around the fortunes of the Nadowli Kaleo constituency.
And with the exit of our venerable MP, Alban Bagbin, the constituents feel that a worthy replacement to his MPship must be somebody who is well known, who has the acumen to drive the development for the area, and above all, have the network, either for the NDC or MP. All the people are looking for poverty at its lowest level in our constituency has almost become one of the consequential factors that our people have lived. It is important that we look to seek opportunity for our people. And I come in as a bridge, having lived and grown myself from the background of poverty, pure penury, suffered all manner of difficulties, suffered in many degrading forms, but rose to the top. I want to use the leverage that I have at national, continental, and international levels to bring about opportunity for us.
For now, the search for a replacement of Ghana's longest-serving member of parliament, Honorable Alban S.K. Bagbin, is on. What is, however, not clear is who will replace him. Reporting for Citi News, Latif Mahama, Nadowli.
Okay, so I'll revert to you on some issues the constituents are raising about development and employment, which brings to question the former or the bowing out MP, that's Honorable S.K. Bagbin, his contribution really to the constituency and his legacy. But let me take a few messages. Titi says, good afternoon. The Honorable Bagbin resigned as an unhappy man from the NDC and was the pillar for the NDC in the constituency, and he's no longer there. The good work done by the MPP government will see the party's candidate through. As you claimed, your panel has not spoken much about him. That was before, now they have. Okay. Cornelius says the NDC candidate will win hands down. #Voters Diary. Elvis Bocha is winning hands down because Bernard is going to divide the NDC's votes. This is Ernest from Kaleo. This one from GN2, he also says it's from Kaleo. He says, Sixtus, you should be made aware that Eric Dakora has no impact to pull votes from the NDC. He lost assembly elections. Where is his influence? Nobody takes him serious in the constituency. This guy claims. Okay. Elvis Bocha is well known in the constituency.
That's Bernard Mornah's campaign manager he's referring to.
Oh, yes, the one you said he was from the NDC.
The NDC, then, yes.
So he feels because he lost the assembly elections, his relevance has been lost already. Okay, we'll see about that. Elvis Bocha is well known in the constituency with very strong support of the MPP. He has the greatest potential to take the seat. Elvis all the way, you say. Okay, and then this one too says Elvis is for the grassroots and we will vote for him. Okay, there's another one who will send you a private message. I'll let you know later. So, you know, most of the people there said unemployment, health infrastructure absent, and so many things, bad roads and all that. So really, what was the contribution of the Honourable Bagbin to the constituency? Because it looks like nothing has been done.
This is one of the questions that when you answer, you don't go back home.
Permission for Sixtus to answer. The people of Nadowli, Kaleo, please.
But seriously, it's one of the pains of people who believe that when they push somebody to the national level and the person gains so much prominence, they expect a lot of things happening for them, and it's one of the reasons you would see a lot of the areas you see that they have consistently maintained a particular person as their member of parliament, because they believe that the person with time will get to build some network and use that to pull resources for them. In the case of the Honourable Bagbin, it's again one of the pains that the youth have expressed, and you heard them there, their own voices.
Even from his own party, the NDC.
From his own party.
Yeah.
You cannot imagine that a district hospital will not have a mall.
Yeah.
You see, you cannot imagine that for a place of the caliber, the tarred road is measurable. In fact, in 2016, it was a key campaign message by the MPP's Botta. He said that if you looked through the constituency presided over by the Honourable Bagbin, the only tarred road then was the road that runs through the constituency to Japa from Wa. And that meant that if you went within the constituency itself, there were no tarred roads.
Wow.
And this was in 2016, the lead up to the 2016 elections. This time, as we speak now, so in the 4-year interval, some work has been done. My understanding is that the road has been tarred stretching from the Nadowli area to Sankana, that's Bernard Mornah's area. But my people are still left out. My mother's people. My mother is from within the constituency there, from Namvili.
Okay.
So the whole of, so from Sankana to...
So your mom is from Jirapa?
No,
my Kaleo Nadowli
constituency.
And your dad is Jirapa. And you said you are from Jirapa. I mean, we know that, but there's some elements, because I knew you had some connection there. Okay.
So it means that the whole of that area, they still don't have tarred road.
Okay.
And this is it's not, they are not small communities in the area there. They are known, they are prominent. In fact, that's headed towards the Black Volta.
Okay.
Again, electricity. That in this age, we still have communities that are not benefiting from electricity. And these communities are within the constituency of a prominent member of parliament, a member of parliament whose party champions rural electrification.
Yeah.
So what would be his excuse? What would he tell the people as to the reason he's not able to give them the electricity? Water, I understand, is still a serious problem in the constituency. And again, he has networks, he has resources, he's built. The name alone, there was a time it was joked that his name alone could get you a job anywhere you wanted. And people in the constituency are complaining about unemployment. You heard the candidate himself say the youth don't have jobs. And this is the person representing his own party. That says something about the leadership. But of course, as we always say, they are MPs, they are lawmakers, they are not agents of development, strictly speaking. So you would notice that his influence or his relevance has largely been on the legislature. That when it comes to holding the opposition, when NDC was in power, when it came to holding the opposition firmly down so government could do its job, he was able to do that as leader of the side. Even in opposition, when he was minority leader, when it came to holding government to account, he was able to do that as minority leader, and that earned him a lot of respect from all people across the divide. But as to whether the constituency really felt that benefit, well, we had the people themselves.
Okay, our time is up. We'll see how it pans out on in December when the elections take place. But thank you very much, Sixtus Ullo. I hope your comments still allows you to go back home without any challenge with your constituents there. And Kojo Akoto, thank you as well. My name is Vivian Kai Lokko. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll return tomorrow at 3. For the repeat of this show is 10 p.m. tonight. Goodbye.
Voter's Diary is sponsored by Samsung. Samsung, inspire the world, creates the future.